Yeah,
there we go. All right.
All right, cool. It's all good. It's all, so we were saying, so you were telling me though, and I was asking you really about that upbringing. So how the upbringing helped. You grew up in a medical family. You know, you'd seen your dad at work. You know what your parents were doing. You put in the work. You got your master's in kinesiology. You were training a lot of other everyday folks, everyday civilian folks, and you were ready.
You have to be. You know, listen, here's the thing. I firmly believe everybody in life, you're going to get one opportunity at greatness, at something that you want to do. Most people aren't prepared for when that opportunity comes. All right.
True.
I firmly believe that. All right. Everyone has that chance. And a lot of times you don't even notice it, or you run from it because, you know, like you said earlier, you have fear, you have doubt, you have all those things. You're supposed to have fear. You're supposed to have doubt. You're supposed to be unsure of yourself. That's what keeps motivating yourself. That's what keeps you relentless to continue to grow, continue to get to that next level. All those things. If the thing that you're reaching for, and you have 100% confidence in it, you haven't done enough work in it. You haven't put enough time in it. Your goals and dreams are supposed to be so big that they scare you. And if they don't scare you, they're not big enough. They are not big enough.
That's so true. Take us through what it's like, because we want to bring the fans inside where they can't get to. And that's one thing that I'm big on, because I've heard you say this before, and I say this on TV. It's not the fact that it happened. It's the how and why that it happened. So the end product is just the performance. It's 60 points by MJ. God bless the late Kobe. We'll get to that momentarily. Or DWade, or it's Jordan Bennington last year for the St. Louis Blues, their goalie, on the road in Boston, Game 7, helping deliver them their first Stanley Cup in 50 years for the St. Louis Blues. But inside of that, what's the mentality like? And people look at Michael as an example, the great, you know, the GOAT. People look at Jordan, but take us inside the mentality, deeper inside the mentality that makes him him, that makes Merrill, lemieux, Wayne Gretzky, Roger Federer, Serena Williams, the late Kobe Bryant, DWade, Sidney Crosby. Take us inside what makes them great from a mentality standpoint.
The one thing that nobody talks about with these individuals is they limit their choices. Too many times people have too many choices and they can't make a decision.
True.
All right, they can't make a decision on, this is what I'm going to do, this is how I'm going to do it, and this is how I'm going to get it done. I mean, you look at the average individual. How many times have you gone through this with individuals? What do you want to do? I don't know. What do you want to do? I don't know. What do you want to do? And they go back and forth. Sure. And they can't make a decision when somebody goes out to eat, what restaurant? Do you want steak? Do you want fish? Do you want plant-based? Make a choice already.
Right.
Make a choice. All right?
Yeah.
And then do everything possible to make that choice happen. All right. You know, everybody knows about the work you have to put in. But what are you willing, for all these individuals, they knew what they were willing to give up and what they actually had to give up. There's a lot of people that be like, okay, yeah, this is what I'm willing to give up, but they don't actually give those things up. And when I'm talking about willing to give up, you got to give up your free time.
Totally.
All right. You got to give up your friends.
Mm-hmm.
There's a lot of times where you have to give up family time.
Mm-hmm.
As a professional athlete, you don't have a choice, even
Totally.
from a traveling.
Totally.
From a traveling standpoint, if you work in the sport, I don't care if you could be the equipment manager, you could be in the broadcasting booth, whatever.
Yep.
Those things become your non-negotiables. MJ had his non-negotiables. Kobe had his non-negotiables. Dwayne's, all the greats have their non-negotiables, and they know what they're going to do to get there. You know, with MJ, he knew what he had to do. He wasn't worried about being liked. You know, he knew what his end result was. And the mentality, too many times now, when you try to reach that end result, people are so worried about being liked. Kobe didn't care about being liked. He didn't. Michael didn't care about being liked. Dwayne didn't care about being liked. They cared more about being respected.
Right.
Respected for the work that they put in, for the results that they constantly got, for the accountability that they had on themselves and their teammates. You know, it was like their mind was like every single day in practice, I have to make myself better and I have to make you better. So if I let you slack off in something in practice, all right, or if you miss an assignment, a defensive assignment in practice, you're going to miss it in the game.
Totally.
Maybe at a crucial time.
Game 7, under the big lights, in front of the world, 100%.
And here's another thing that you know what you just said about the big lights. They don't care about the light. They never see the lights.
Right.
They never see the lights. They never see how many people are in the arena. They don't see that because they're so focused on that end result. They're in that zone. All right, and the zone comes from all the preparation that they constantly put in. You know, how many times maybe you make this comment, that player is thinking too much.
Sure.
Just go out there.
I know what it felt like to do that, 100%.
You know, they say, just go out and play. Well, what happens when you tell somebody, don't think? They start to think,
Exactly.
all right?
Yeah.
So these guys put in years and years of thinking not to be able to think. And, you know, it was funny, like, they ask individuals, you know, well, what's going on in your head during that moment? What were you thinking about? And the answer is nothing.
Right.
Because for the greats, thinking is a distraction. Because in that moment, if you're thinking, you're not in that moment.
How did you help them get there? How do you help them get there? Because every player has her or his or their own process to getting there. But how do you help them get there? Because everybody saw and sees to this day, wow, we see Jordan, we see the ability to jump, the ability to shoot, this person's ability to pitch, to Sidney Crosby going in on a breakaway, Merrill lemieux going in on a breakaway back in the day. But how do you help them develop that mental toolbox, so to speak, so that they can get there and access that so they're always ready?
So what they do is they don't care whether the moment is going to be successful or it's going to be unsuccessful. They're not worried about making the shot or missing the shot, not making it. All right, missing the shot. Sorry, they don't care. They don't care about that. They're known that they put in all the time, all the effort, all the physical and mental preparation in for that moment. You know, Michael's got this big commercial. You know, he's missed this many shots.
Right. That's why he succeeds. I remember.
That's why he's successful. People they think about the what if. All right. And these individuals, there is no what if. They control the narrative. All right. If they get the end result, great. If they don't get the end result, they have the shortest memories. And that's where that's one of the crucial things I work with these guys. Forget it. Let's move on. Forget it. This is what we did. Don't contemplate. Don't do it. So they have to have the shortest memories. And here's the other thing. Don't over prepare. don't over prepare, because when you over prepare for a situation, you lose your you lose your natural instincts in order to do what you're supposed to do. So you have to know that fine line about when I'm ready. I'm ready to go. You know, it's just like individuals like Michael very rarely took, when he got to the arena before on game day, he very rarely took shots. You know, he came out when the team came out. That's when he took his shots. He didn't come out earlier to get, you know, every now and then he did, but very, very rarely did he do that. And he'd always say, I practice so hard to make the games easy. All right. So, you know, the things that it's about, a lot of it is about clarity. You know, it's about not bringing other issues that are going on in your life, with your family, with your friends. Don't bring them with you during the games. Don't bring those situations. They're always going to be there, because the zone and the ability to be able to react, get in a no-think state, it's about clarity.
Right.
It's all about clarity. And I need these individuals to have clarity. So I need to know, is there some, you know, we talk about what's bothering you, what goes on in practice. And the answer I never look for. If I got an answer of, how you feeling? And the level and the answer was fine or okay, I knew there was a problem.
Oh, interesting.
I knew that I was because the best of the best never settle for anything that's just fine or that's just okay. All right. So there are little cues that individuals give you every single day when you know they're settling for less than what their ability allows them to do every single day. And it all starts with the mindset. If you're bringing a bunch of issues that have happened outside the ice rink and you bring it to the ring, you can see it right in their performance. You can see it right away. It's like a person, all of a sudden, a goalie didn't forget how to stop pucks, what angles they should use.
True.
A baseball player doesn't always just all of a sudden forget how to hit a baseball. A basketball player doesn't all of a sudden just forget how to make a basket. There's something else that causes those things to affect what their performance dictates, and dealing with those and understanding those and knowing that's going to be a part of the process of the growth and minimizing those allows these individuals to constantly perform at a higher level, because once you can teach them that, they start to use those things as fuel. You know, everyone talks about, you see these individuals when they're not feeling well. How many times have you seen in sports? And Michael obviously was very close to Wayne Gretzky, and he was very close. Very close.
Yep. And right? To Merrill too, as you and Brett all.
Yes, very close to also. All right. And if you took those three individuals and you put them in a room and you monotone their voices where they were exactly the same, but you didn't know what was saying what. If you talked to them about their preparation, the competition, how they got ready, how they felt about things, they would give you the exact same answers.
Boom. Bingo. And I'm so pumped that you said that, because a lot of times, I'm glad that you hit on that, because a lot of times, you know, I've had friends, or you have teammates, or you have different people, or, you know, close associates or family members, and I know that they love person A. I know it. And I'm like, I played with him. I played against him. Here's how he's wired. Here's what he'd say. Or I met him. Here's what she'd say. Here's what they'd say. And they're like, oh, Kev, you know, it's just you. You know, Kev, it's just you. But you're so spot on. Continue on with that. That's interesting. I'm glad you said that.
So those things, they don't play for the money. They don't play for the accolades. All right. That's a byproduct of what they do. They're like, if I produce
X.
in the environment,
Right.
everything else will take care of it. Everything else will take care of itself. You know, it's funny when you're good, you tell everybody else. When you're great, they tell you.
100%.
Those individuals never had to tell themselves how great they were. They would always compliment their teammates. Now, behind closed doors, it might be a different conversation. It might be a different conversation.
Yeah.
Right?
Yeah.
But you know, it was always about the team. It was always about the team. You know, Michael, listen, in this documentary that's about to come up, you
Sunday
know,
night, I'll be tuned in. The Last Dance.
One of the clips that says he goes, you can't mention Michael Jordan without mentioning Scottie Pippen.
Right.
All right.
100%.
And in his Hall of Fame speech, he said, I wouldn't be here without Scottie Pippen.
Mm-hmm.
No. And, you know, Kobe didn't realize what he had in Shaq until Shaq left.
Right.
And they brought in another center who I'm not going to name.
Understood. I know exactly. Yeah. Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah.
So there's things but these individuals, they elevate themselves and they want everybody else to elevate with them. They're not going to, from a mental standpoint, from a physical standpoint, they're not going to come down to your level. You may not be as talented as they are, but they want you to bring every little bit of talent that you have because they know at some point you're going to be called upon and I'm going to need you to make that pass, hit that shot, play defense, whatever it may be. And I have to be able to believe in you, even if it's for 10 seconds.
Right.
All right. And if I slack off, that gives, then in their mind, they're like, it gives that person the right to slack off. So if they never see me take a play off, they never see me take a practice off, they never see me take a play off, then when I tell them, this is what you're doing, not only am I telling them, I'm showing you, listen, I don't do it.
Right.
And it's so hard for an individual. Just think about how exhausted you are after taking an extremely, going back to college or high school and an entrance exam, how physically exhausted you were. And all you were doing was thinking. You were analyzing, you were writing, you were writing notes, how tired you were after that exam. Now add to that, to maintain that high level of mental focus, and add the physical component on top of it.
Totally.
And those stars that we mentioned, they're the ones that have to answer every single question. They're the ones that have to deal with guys like you afterwards.
Right. Yeah, that's true. That is true. No, you're absolutely right. You're absolutely right. Okay, you're on the bus, right? You're on the plane. You're in Barcelona, the dream team, which you said is some of the best basketball you've ever seen. Understand?
Oh, it's by far the best. It was like
right.
Yeah, but it's like you got to be kidding. There would have been perennial all-stars in the NBA that couldn't have played in that pickup game. Yeah. Couldn't get on that court.
I agree.
Yeah.
So when you're on the bus, you're on the plane, you're going to the rink. It's the morning. You guys, with Michael, with the Breakfast Club, you guys were the first real people, early adopters, to essentially have the workout before going to the rink for practice, before going to the stadium for practice. What are you telling those guys? What are some of the things that you're echoing to them in the morning when you're working out, or if, hey, you're on the plane, you're heading to the rink for the game? What are a couple nuggets that some people can take away?
You know what? It's just we're figuring what we want to do is there's certain things a person can do to get an individual in a zone.
Right.
All right. That's what we want. There's certain individuals. There's certain things you can do, and there isn't a whole lot of talking.
Mm-hmm.
All right. There really isn't. That's the one thing about these individuals. You go back to, the Sidney Crosbys, the Mario Lemieux, and, the Waynes and all the other ones. Obviously your Rolodex is a lot more extensive than mine is, but they weren't the hype guys.
Exactly. There was no hot talk.
Right. All right.
No hot talk. None.
There is no hot. They got their lockers by themselves. They're quiet. They're doing because here's the thing. For most players, the preparation starts when they get on the bus or when they get to the arena or when they get to the stadium, whatever they're getting. These individuals, as soon as they wake up in the morning, it starts then.
Right. Everything
they do during that day is to get them ready for that moment. Everything.
100%. 100%.
Everything. So there is. So if I have to say something to them during the game, during the bus ride, I didn't do my job.
Love it.
I didn't do my job because here's the thing. What am I going to say now in the last 5, 10 minutes, 30 minutes before that they should know already? Mm-hmm. Now, there may be some adjustments in the game when I see things that are, bothering, and I may see something, that they're maybe lacking focus. They saw something or some body language. I may point that thing out for them, but it's a quick conversation.
Sure.
It's quick.
Yeah.
That's it. Well, hey, I noticed something, make them aware of it. And majority of the time, even before I say it, they already know.
Right. Right.
They already know. So that's what I talked about earlier. It's the years and years of thinking and training physically and mentally to get them to the point where they don't have to think. They don't have to be the vocal guys. They don't have to be the hype guys. They don't have to do all that stuff because that's actually a distraction for them.
Love it. What about the late great Kobe? God rest his soul, and his late daughter, and of course all of those that perished on the chopper itself. And all due respect to you, because you guys established a relationship through Mike. You were almost a bridge between those two guys. And Michael Jordan said, hey, call my guy Grover. Tim was, Kobe was having some problems with his knees, and you helped get Kobe back to his optimum prime level. But tell us some things about Kobe, with all due respect to your relationship that you guys have, and we never want to infringe on that. Tell us some great takeaways that we can have from Kobe, the late, great Kobe Bryant.
Oh, I mean, listen, you talk about an individual that didn't give a F. Right. I'm going to keep it clean.
See, no, I got you. We got you.
Yeah.
Yeah.
It's just like it was win at all costs. And had one of the highest pain tolerances I have ever seen. You could see the videos where
the Achilles,
the dislocated fingers,
yeah,
getting popped into place. There were shoulders.
Yeah.
There was literally times where his shoulder popped out of place. All right. And we repositioned it and he came back out to play. Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm. I mean, just the competitive drive, the thirst for knowledge. The one thing I try to tell people, Kobe never went to college.
Mm-hmm. Neither did I. Mm-hmm.
But he was one of the most smartest individuals I have ever met.
Wow.
I mean, he spoke literally, if I remember this, he literally spoke 4 or 5 languages fluently.
Incredible.
Not a few words, fluently. When it was a crazy thing. When they signed Pau Gasol,
right,
they would communicate in Spanish. Mm-hmm. So the opponent team wouldn't know what they were talking about.
Mm-hmm. That's cool.
But just
so the competitive advantage inside.
Just
that's
great. Always thinking about the competitive advantage.
Love that.
Always thinking about the competitive advantage. Always.
What about the late text sometimes? You said you get text from them. Sometimes you get a text. Like, I know for a fact, Sidney Crosby's doing that when Rick Tocchet, who now coaches the Arizona Coyotes, who's tuned into the show right now, when Talk was an assistant coach, and Talk played 1,200-plus games in the league and won a Stanley Cup with Merrill in Pittsburgh. But as a head coach now, but as an assistant in Pittsburgh, Sid would text him at all times of the night and say, hey, listen, hey, Talk, I saw this on this power play. Chicago, Jonathan Toews, Patrick Kane are doing this with the Hawks. Let's check this out type thing. What about Kobe and the late text, and then sometimes that turning into a workout with you guys?
All the time. That's it. You can never turn your phone off. You can never turn your phone off. If you didn't respond within a couple of minutes, you were gonna get fired. You were gonna get fired. You had to be, and that's one of the things that, greatness sleeps. Unstoppable never rests.
Well said.
Yeah. It never rests.
Well said.
So these individuals they wanted to go beyond greatness. They wanted to go beyond greatness. All right. So, I mean, listen, when I'm talking about sleep, they got their rest. They recovered when they needed to, but the mind was all, when they thought of something, just what you said, they needed to know an answer or a plan of how to put into play right away. Right away. Like Kobe would say, hey, listen, let's go up and get, I know tomorrow this is who I'm going against. This is the area of the shot I'm going to get majority of my shots on. Let's go out there. Let's go work. Let's go literally work. Not on the whole basketball court. Let's work in this little 3-foot box, because this is where tomorrow's game could possibly be won or lost. Or this is where today,
it's going to come down to that space.
Yes, it's going to come down. It's going to come down to that. Not, people talk about it's going to come down to that play. What is a play about? A play is about getting to that space, getting to that certain. Everyone say if I can get to my spot, that's what plays are about. They're about getting players to that spot. All right, these guys already know the spots, and they're like, this is where it is. So let me go ahead. It's kind of bothering me a little bit today. So let me go ahead and let's go on and work about it. Or, hey, what are the tendencies of what are the tendencies of this guy? Have you noticed something about him? Yeah, you know what? I watched a couple of games from 3 games ago. These are the things. He didn't seem quite focused. Let me do a little work on this. Every single advantage I could give these individuals, they wanted. They wanted to know all the strengths, all the weaknesses of everybody. And like I said, those things don't sleep.
2 last questions for you. Championship culture is one, and then we're going to get a takeaway at the end with our last question. But championship culture inside the Bulls, it transcended time, it transcended cultures, it transcended geography, you name it. Inside that culture, inside the Lakers, the exact same thing. And of course, with Dwayne Wade and the great Pat Riley down in South Florida. 2 keys to those 3 cultures that you saw that made them great and that made them eternal in terms of greatness.
Everyone got treated the same, whether you're the superstar player or you were the intern on the video person that just came in. Everybody was held accountable to the same standards. Because it's funny, when you start winning, a lot of coaches, a lot of individuals start giving you a little bit of slack. They're like, okay, you know what? That's our best player, or they're okay. Yeah, they missed an assignment. We're not going to say anything. If it's not these cultures, if it's not acceptable when you're losing, it's not acceptable when you're winning. So
well
it's just that's it. So it's all. Everyone else is held to the same standard. All right. And the other thing is all these individuals, all right, from the management all the way down, they have that competitive fire already built in.
Totally.
It's already built in. They don't need external motivation, because if you're looking for external motivation, all right, that means there's something missing inside of you. Now, we can adjust how high that flame burns and how hot it burns, but nobody from the outside should have that ability to turn that fire on and off in you.
TG, right now we're going through this global pandemic that is COVID-19. And I've seen Mohamed Sanu, Jordan Bennington, Rick Tocchet. There's so many different players, pro athletes that are on this stream. But we also have other people that are heroes, healthcare workers. We have front office personnel. We have crossing guards. You know, we have a lot of different people, restaurant entrepreneurs that are on this stream. And just for every one of us as citizens in general, not only here in the US or back in Canada, but literally globally right now, what are a couple nuggets that you can give to people to carry forward so that they can get through this? But once we get through this individually and collectively, more importantly, how they can take his or her or their profession to the next level, game to the next level, home to the next level, career to the next level. Because you're a top-end, world-class keynote speaker, and you and Sherry are hired by the top of companies around the world. And you're flying to go and speak to a lot of these people, be it with Grant Cardone, be it with the folks at DWade, you know, GE, all the top companies. These people can't hire you enough. What can you leave with a lot of our great viewers that we have on this stream right here, that they can help take themselves, not only get through this, but to elevate and take it to the next level?
Well, the first thing, I want to say thank you to everyone. You know, listen, you know, we talk about cleaners in the book.
Mm-hmm.
Those individuals are cleaners. And I try to tell people that cleaner mentality has nothing to do with how much money you make. Totally. That's a byproduct. That's a byproduct. Mm-hmm. All right. It's that feeling that you get inside from doing what you do better than anybody else. Totally. And this is the time where all those people that are on the front lines, they're performing their jobs better than anybody else. And that is the definition of relentless. The takeaway from during this time is certain things have stopped. Certain things you can't do now. All right. This is a great time if you're in your household. All right. Everyone has a to-do list. Mm. If you can't make headway onto that to-do list, it's never going to get done. It's never going to get done. So if there are projects that you've been fearful of, if there are phone calls that you want to make, if there's something you want to learn to make your skill set better, to make you more attractive to companies out there, to figure out how to separate yourself from individuals. The people that figure those things out now are the ones that are going to come out ahead. Listen, no one can take this lightly. This has affected everyone. Mm-hmm. There's not a single person this has not affected. All right. You've gone through things before. You're going to go through things later on. What did you learn from this? And what can you change about yourself? What can you eliminate and what can you add? Because people are always during this time, they want to add stuff, they want to add things. Everybody, you know, I want to add. Well, when you add too much without subtracting, mm-hmm. there is no progress. Totally. You can only carry so much. So this is a time to look at yourself and get rid of the stuff that you don't need to carry when this stuff is over with. And if you can do that, you're going to be able to make a much speedier recovery and get back into your whatever it is you're trying to do.
100%. Hey, listen, there's a reason why you have risen to prominence and to greatness, and you continue to exemplify that. And you created it literally from scratch yourself, but you also created it in partnership, and you did it in partnership with, be it family members, be it Phil Jackson, be it Jordan Pippen, the late great Kobe, DWade, Pat Riley, and of course now with Sherry. And you've done this and you continue to, because you still train a lot of elite athletes, but you've done this by way of your training physiologically, but you've also done it psychologically, and you're helping people do that. So thanks so much for all you do. Congrats on 7 years. Sherry, congrats. I know she's out of the shop, but Sherry, congrats. You guys co-wrote that book. Over 500,000 copies sold, and I'm sure you're well on your way to 1 million plus. I know a lot of different players that I talk to and coaches and people. We love the book. We love the book. I won't say who, out of respect for some of those relationships, as you do. Sure. But even today, Weeksy, I've got that book. I read it from front to back. I read it all the time. I got it with me all the time. So you're impacting people's lives, and not just athletes, but more importantly, you're impacting people, especially by way of your speaking, by way of your Relentless group, which I've been a part of, by way of your Down and Dirty group. So for a lot of you NHL fans, NBA fans, sports fans, make sure you go and check them out at Attack Athletics. Make sure you give them a follow on all social platforms. Also his great agent at Sherry Wenk, W-E-N-K. Make sure you give her a follow as well. They're doing great work. And what I love about this, as I mentioned, is it's not limited to athletics. And you pointed that out. This is everyday life stuff for all of us as everyday life people. Listen,
I always say, we may never see anybody play basketball like Michael, like Kobe, like Dwayne, LeBron. You may never see somebody play hockey again like, Mario, Sidney, Wayne. You may never see anybody play tennis like Serena, all these individuals. We don't know that. But the mindset of these individuals can be applied to everything you do. This is about the mindset, not about the skill set. That's where everything starts. When you started your career in hockey, it started with the mindset. When you started your career in broadcasting, it started with the mindset. Everything starts with the mindset, and the other things follow.
Well, you know what? That's great advice, and thank you. And you know what? MJ obviously took advantage of that and listened to that and exemplifies that. That's why in his post-playing career, and I had a chance to meet Fred Whitfield, who I know you know real well. When I played down in the minors in Greensboro, North Carolina, and Fred, we ran into each other. I'm like, I'm the biggest Jordan guy, man. I'm the biggest Jordan fan. And Fred told me, Weeksy, listen, man, we're setting up Michael so he's better after he's done shooting the basketball than he is while he is. And Jordan's worth $2 billion right now. He's built this brand and is a global icon and will always be that. Kobe was well on his way to doing that in his second phase as well. So TG, thanks so much, man. We're going to do this again. Appreciate you and Shari. Appreciate your time. You sports fans out there are great NHL fans. Hope you got a lot out of this. NBA fans, a lot of our fans, even back in Canada, that are Raptors fans, when they were pulling down the hoops when we were playing outdoor ball back home in Toronto. They would take the hoops down in non-school hours, literally, to Kawhi and that team winning the NBA championship. That's just a testament of their commitment to excellence. And Kobe, the late, great Kobe, mentored Kawhi as well. So thanks so much, TG. Blessings to you. We'll talk offline. Sherry, thanks to you as well.
Thank you.
Thanks a million, okay?
Relentless never stops. It knows no gender. It knows no race. It knows no color.
Love it. And neither do you, and neither do we. God bless, man. One love.
Take care.
Thank you so much.
It's my pleasure.
If you want another amazing video highlighting excellence in the Indian community, check it out right there next to me. I think you'll enjoy it. Continue to believe, and I'll see you there.